Right, so sticking with TV for a bit now, let's talk about season 3 of Atlanta, right? We'll just kind of, we're not gonna, all right, so basically we're just gonna talk about the season, but we're gonna kind of emphasize on episodes, right? And I'll explain why in my little run through as to what this season here is about, right? So this one is quite different from the last two we've gotten, right? So basically, our heroes, Ernest or Ern Marks, played by Donald Glover, the incomparable Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Alfred Miles, aka Paperboy, played by Brian Tyree Henry, and Darius X, being played by Lakeith Stanfield, right? So
Right.
they're all on the Paperboy European tour, right?
Right.
So the episodes involving them, I'll get to that in a bit,
Yeah.
finds them in a different city in a different European country, right? And we just see them go through some sort of misadventure. And of course, it's Atlanta, so shit gets weird really quick, right? But it always winds up with them learning a lot about themselves, about the world around them, sorry, and of course, race, right? When it comes to them being black, right?
Yeah.
But also, I would say in this case, the real central character in this is Vanessa, right? Who is
Yeah.
played by Mikhail Zazie Beetz, right? This is Donald's on again, off again girlfriend slash baby mama, right? So she didn't really tag along with them on the trip, right? But she kind of ends up being there. But they explain why later on, right? And Ernest is, or just let me just call him Ern for now, right? So Ernest, he just kind of always runs into her, and he's always asks her, well, what's going on? And the reason being is because, well, he decided to stay with her for the sake of their daughter, right, Lottie, right? Who is not in the show, of course. She's back home in Atlanta, right? But the question is, what's Vanessa up to? Why is she showing up in random spots? Is she okay mentally, right? And then,
Right. Yeah.
an episode addresses that brilliantly,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right? But what the show also does as well is that basically in the how to say by the
Basically in between.
yeah, I was gonna say
Every other episode, yeah.
yeah, the even numbers basically kind of involve our heroes, right? But the odd number episodes are, basically these random stories, right? And they are based in Atlanta, and they center on an individual who kind of is going through some sort of like existential crisis, but it has to deal with the African American experience in some way, shape, or form, right?
Right.
And that's the season right there, right? So, general thoughts on the season here, and then we'll just dive into episode to episode, right? So, general thoughts on the episode on this season here. I do know that we are getting a fourth and final season very soon, but I would say at the moment this is my least favorite season thus far. That is
Agree.
not to say that it
Yeah.
is terrible, right?
Agreed. But it's only because of a decision. You see?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna touch on it.
When you get to me, yeah, go ahead.
Right. I think I know what it is. If I don't bring it up, you'll bring it up, right?
Right.
And it's this decision, which makes sense story wise, right? Because the name of the show is Atlanta, right? And our heroes are not in Atlanta. Yes, you will see title cards that will in Europe, right? That will have the word spelled out, right? Atlanta, right? But to be honest, they're not in Atlanta, right? So it makes sense in a way to have these random episodes play out in Atlanta that have nothing to do with them, right? Have nothing to do with Un or Paperboy or or Darius, right? Now, with that being said, it is, I would say, many people would agree, though, that it's those random episodes that feel the weakest. And I think really is because they feel somewhat detached from the overall story itself,
Right.
as in what's going on with our heroes and especially with Vanessa. It feels like there's these distractions, if you will, right? And I keep going back to, like, every time I see these episodes, I keep going back to what Donald said about, oh, I want this to be like The Sopranos, right? And in a way, this one really is reaching to that level, right? Where it's like, okay, I just want to give you something so provocative, Dre, that you're going to be talking about it with your friend at the water cooler. That's what it is. He wants to create water cooler talks. He's like, yo, you remember the scene when this character do this? What does this mean, boy? Or you remember when this character do this and this thing happened? That's what he wants to generate, right? But he's using the absurdist, viewpoint that he's used so far with the first two seasons to do that, right? And sometimes they work, other times they don't. I find like especially for those odd number episodes, they kind of they kind of miss the mark, so to speak. But I do get what they're trying to say, right? Now, well, when we dive in deep into each episode, well, not in deep, but when we mention that, we'll kind of explain what we mean, right? But yeah, really, the episodes involving Un and the others, those are the strongest ones, right? But
Right.
even those,
Well,
I felt were just
yeah.
kind of arbitrary in a sense, like, all right, it's just they're here and they go through some kind of weird shit and they learn something. That's what it is, right? And at the while, just they're like, okay, well, what's going on with Vanessa? Why isn't she there with them? And then in the final episode, they address that, they kind of answer it, but they still leave things kind of open as to where she's gonna be and her relationship with Un, right? That being said, though, this is easily the most ambitious season thus far from a narrative perspective. The kind of shit they get into in Europe, and especially like how they're able to just kind of address these things without condemning the cultures of each place that they go to, right? It's a lot that goes on, and you actually get some pretty interesting cameos as well too. A couple of
Right.
whom I'll mention later on, which caught me completely by surprise and it made for some great laughs, right? Um, but this is still a very, very, very well made series. Cinematography is just top notch from start to end. The acting still strong throughout, though. You do buy into Un and Alfred, pretty much kind of wondering what the fuck is going on. Just their
Right.
expressions to things work. Darius is always just chill, but there's one particular episode where it's like, like it's almost like he about to see it, about to see WTF, but he's more like disappointed more than anything else, right?
Right.
Um, Vanessa though,
That one moment that was brutal for Darius, right? But yeah,
yeah, yes, I know what you're talking about. But hopefully I remember it, right? Vanessa, well, I mean Zazie Beetz, she was great as well too. But that last episode is really where you see just the full extent of what she's going through, right?
right.
And it's up to you to kind of make sense of it as to whether, okay, so what she is going through, is it all justifiable in terms of her going all the way to Europe and pretty much following our heroes now? You know what I mean? So it's like that, right? The side stories, for the most part, work, right? They do touch on some really serious and really dark subject matter, but they do it in a somewhat satirical kind of sense, right? It's very dark. Like those episodes are really, really dark, right? Especially like that first episode that we talked about, Tree Slaps. We talked about it earlier.
Right.
There's one in particular, episode 7, Trinity Bone, us as
Right.
Trinis, which we have to talk about, but when we get to the episode stuff, we'll jump into that, right?
Mhm.
But there were a few where I was like, all right, I get what you're trying to say, but I don't know, it just kind of missed the mark. But like case in point, episode 9, Rich Wigger, Paul Wigger. Like I know
Listen,
what he's trying to talk about, but it's like,
I, that was my favorite episode.
I know what you're trying to say, bro. I know, but
But
me,
that was
for
my
me,
that was my
personally,
that was my favorite episode.
oh, okay. I think for me, it's just the ending just didn't have that punch. Though. Like I
I
get it,
thought that was
but it's
great.
just the ending was like, well, if you had just gone a little bit deeper, man. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. So in closing, like for me, I just felt like there were a lot of ideas in this, right? I wasn't really expecting the odd number episodes to all tie into something into one big team, even though there is a particular character that would make you believe that, right? Which you'll get into. But in terms of like kind of broadening the scope of the world of the show Atlanta, it makes sense, right? But I do kind of hope that in the next season, our heroes do return to Atlanta and we kind of get more stuff in Atlanta involving them, right? But the side stories work. I do kind of see them a bit of. I make the joke of it, especially after watching episode 9, right? Whereas like it's almost like Donald trying to carry the torch that John Peel was carrying with his Twilight Zone revival series. It kind of feels like that. Like it's Twilight Zone, but it's more touching on more modern stuff as opposed to referencing old episodes of Twilight Zone, right? But it's like that, right? Because they do feel really weird though, especially that episode 9. But
Right.
that one was going on some weird shit. But I love where they was going with it. Honestly,
Yeah.
boy, Ricardo, it's just the end that just felt like it just could have had some.
That was my personal favorite episode, though.
I can't understand. I can't
That episode had
understand
me
why.
cracking up, Judd.
No, the scene in the basketball court though with
Yeah.
with the protagonist.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that, especially just how it's shot. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it does remind me of an episode of the Twilight Zone. I think it's the one involving this character
Yeah.
who's going to be executed.
The Obsolete Man.
The Obsolete Man. That's it.
Right.
That's what it reminds me of, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a whole, not my favorite season, but it is easily the most ambitious season thus far. It really does expand the world of the series, and you could tell it's just Donald just taking all these ideas and just exploring them in these unique ways. Though, but I just felt like it could have all, even the odd number of episodes, could have all kind of came together into one cohesive whole, and even the stuff involving Un and them could have come together in one cohesive whole. It was just like, all right, like the big conceit is what's going on with Vanessa, and they just kind of addressed that, but it really, slight spoiler, didn't even involve Darius or or Alfred, right? But which was a letdown for me. But yeah, that's my general thought. But yeah, your overall thoughts in the season, then we could just kind of dive in quickly.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It is the weakest season, but I think it's because they made one mistake with it, which is not really like finishing up the arc with Un and them. Like when episode 10 happened, I thought we had like 2 more episodes to go, or at least 1 more episode. I was like, oh, this is the finale. Okay, well, that kind of undermined the season. And then now personally, I thought the choice of having these interstitial kind of episodes countermanded. I didn't have a problem with that necessarily. I actually thought most of those interstitial episodes were great, to be honest. The first one with Three Slaps was great. The one with the money one. It is by
the Big Payback.
The Big Payback. Dark as hell.
That was cool, but again, just wish the ending just had a.
Yeah. No. All right. So here's the thing with that. Right? That guy who the ending, the guy at the end. What's his name?
Yes. I'm gonna talk about that.
And I was like, all right, so that's the connection then. So that's where it's have these like loose connections now. Yeah, whatever. But then they did there are really 3 episodes that really stuck with me. Like all the other episodes were fine, they were good, but they didn't stick with me. But the episode that stuck with me was Trinity Bone, the one with when Paperboy get high.
All right, that's New Jazz. That comes afterwards.
Jazz. Yeah. And then Rich Wigger, Poor Wigger.
Right.
Yeah, everything else was like okay. The final episode was good because they finally answered a question that we had from since episode 1, and I don't know if you know it had a lot of like great little film homages there. Like
dude, I was picking up on some it does pay a lot to French New Wave, but there's one scene in an art gallery which is so blatantly Tarantino inspired. I was smiling.
Right. But they make homage to Amelie because she mentioned Amelie. And she mentioned so it's our old
Lahane is one when he went to the slum area. Yeah.
Right. But in the movie it's outright and it's implied that Zazie beats herself is probably that's where her name comes from. There's a old French film, 1960, Zazie in the Metro. If you know what that is. I remember watching this film years ago.
Okay, I don't know it, but I will seek it out. I'm a fan of French films, so
Zazie dans la Metro. I was like, oh shit, because I was thinking Zazie, right? Okay, that's what they're going for. And if you look at she hair, it's kind of similar, right? Yeah, the same red coat kind of thing. Whatever. As I said, they if they fulfill a proper arc, because they had so many little things building up with, like, remember the white guy who took Paperboy's phone. They never really resolved that guy yet.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like, I thought they would address all these little drama things with Paperboy and do it. I really thought we should have gotten a little more of of Darius. I thought they slip on Darius because like they had the whole Paperboy getting high and having a trip. And I thought we could have get to see Darius's trip or episode more focused on Darius. Now we get a cool Darius episode with the Nigerian restaurant moment. That was fucking brutal, Drew. Like, Jesus.
Boy, it's the moment where we'll get to the episode. It's the moment when he throws away the food and then somebody comes and said, you should what is why you should recycle that to something.
Yeah.
What you see that, I was like, oh god, man.
Yeah, that real pressure. But I don't know. This season, I get what it was good. I liked it for what they were trying to do, but it doesn't tie together particularly well. And I just felt that we just could have gotten a wrapped up arc with Paperboy and them. That's it. We had like 1 more episode to end it, because when they said this as the episode was the finale, I was like, all right, that kind of was incomplete, and that's why it suffers. But I enjoyed the interstitial stuff, right? So just quickly go through episode by episode and make it make sense. Yeah.
So we talked about Three Slaps and Santa Claus is coming to town already. We thoroughly enjoyed those. Three Slaps was a brilliant way to kick things off, though, and it introduced us to I'll just basically bring up what I believe the whole overarching theme of this season is: identity, right? Mm-hmm. So we have this white guy who is talking to this black guy at this lake, right? And where we learn in a subsequent episode, not the finale, but a subsequent episode, his name is Ernest Marx as well too, right?
Yes,
So
right.
yeah, so how I see the inclusion of this character here is like this season addresses a lot into identity, not
Right.
just racial identity,
Right.
but how we see ourselves mentally,
Yeah.
spiritually, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to call this white Ernest a doppelganger, right? But it's
Well, no.
like that, like But how to say it is like every one of us, right? Even you, Ricardo, even me, we all have someone who have our names, right? So it's funny that Donald Glover character has a white equivalent. That's
it's
how
not. Well, how I interpret is that he was the slave owner of Donald's family. That way, he had the same name. They have the same last name.
Oh my God! Yes,
yes.
And
remember what he does?
Fact that his name is the same as
right.
It's just the coincidence of it all. That's how I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. What happens is that they have the same last name, because last names is something that was generally passed down. But he just happened to have the same first name, so that is where the coincidence is. But the last name is not.
Okay. I thought it was just like a random. Like
no, I don't think that. That's how I interpret that. It was the same episode because with what happened to him in the ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially like what this white Ernest brings up in the beginning about the idea of slaves, and mainly about him as a white man understanding about racism and saying it's hard to be white too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like there's no point in looking down at black people because they feel it as well too. It's a very complex theme that he brings up. It works, right? But yeah, that story with Tree Slaps was great. We mentioned it before, especially where it goes in terms of the kid Lucurious. I think that's how he pronounce his name. Sorry. Love that episode, right? But we were kind of confused as to how it was going to relate to the Paperboy stuff now. But they kind of established, and I said this in my review of that episode, that no, they're supposed to be totally unrelated, right? The Santa Claus is coming to town. That was pretty cool as well. Just see where heroes are right now at the moment. The living funeral thing was pretty hilarious, especially the song that they played in the end. Tupac's Hail Mary, if you remember, that song was released posthumously. Yeah, that was perfect as well, right? But it really did set up this whole thing about will Earn and Vanessa will actually link back up again. That's the question that was pretty much left hanging. But yeah, Ricardo, if you just talk quickly, even though we talked about it before, those first two episodes.
Yeah. So when I mentioned, when I hear Santa Claus is coming to town, I know where they was going with that shit, because the one black issue in Europe that is like the big burdened black issue, I would argue, culturally. The first episode, we know the famous I forget the name of the couple, but is a real story based on a real, truly dark, disturbing story. They actually make it nicer than the real story, unfortunately. But yeah, it based on that. That was the first episode, and the second episode was dark. We had fun with it. It was dark. I know where they're going for it. I know what the subtext is, but they're making it work. Yeah, so on to episode.
Yeah, so up next we have the Old Man in the Tree. I love its setup though. So they're in London. Basically it's Earn and Paperboy and Darius. They get invited to this party. This billionaire and investor, so to speak, invite them there. I love how it all set up where you see this flat, and then when you go inside, you see like all this lavish stuff, and you realize, I love what Darius say, it's a decoy house, right? You see like, all these different, it just looks lavish as hell, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it even has like a little restaurant inside and all that kind of shit, right? It was funny too, like just seeing how Paperboy was dealing with it. Of course, as usual, everybody's like, oh my God, that's Paperboy, right? And that's some shit he can't stand, right? But it's a great moment involving him in this poker game, and this old man, hence the title. And he was talking about a possible dream. Well, I don't think it was a dream, but it sounds dream-like. Him involved in seeing this black man who probably is a slave, I think it was, right? There was this young kid who was trying to, I think it was the whole idea of like selling the place as this where creatives could come and do their thing, and Earn was just kind of seeing through all that and seeing it was all bullshit and whatnot. But really what made it interesting for me was Vanessa showing up as well, because she was there with them, right? And just how crazy she was moving there. She was pushing a couple of people into a pool. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of wondering why, you know what I mean? But in terms of just the fish out of water vibe of the show itself, this one in particular totally worked for me, man. Lastly, I thought that one British guy, that one white guy who was real coming on to Darius and talk about, oh, that one Asian woman
Right.
who you was talking to
And
is
the
like,
real
oh,
fight
well,
on
what
it.
she real, she was dissing you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
She just did this because you're
And
black, man.
listen,
All
they're
lives
trying to
matter, man.
pile onto this girl, Dread.
I know.
Yeah, the
It's all
real
he
pilot.
gets.
But I like how that
it's all
commentary. That's a little funny thing to it, of
yeah.
white people being more woke than you, though.
Yeah, and it's how he
That
gets him and his friends basically talking on this woman, but like, dude, what the fuck you doing to this poor black man? That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, what were your thoughts on the old man in the tree? And by the way, before I forget, yes, there is a tree, and I love.
right. How we play that out.
I love People Boy's meltdown because basically
Right.
the old man basically took his money, right? Just ran
Right.
off with it, and he was like, "Yo, fuck this." Grab a chainsaw and start cutting the tree down.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But yeah,
Right,
your
so-
thoughts this episode.
Yeah, fun episode. I didn't. This is one of the weaker episodes personally for me. It didn't stick with me, but that's like a fun going off. The person who they meet at the end of the episode is he leads on to one of my favorite episodes. But yeah, it really works as a weird conceit of how money is played out. What they do with cause they meet this person who's like a star. What the guy was like a influencer, and they're talking about
he's a rapper. He's a rapper. Yeah.
Well,
no. Actually, he was a social influencer. He's a social media influencer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have these like it is this whole paradigm of people who just rich for being rich sake now, and money making money. Well, I should say rich, not rich for being rich sake, famous for being famous. Like you have a lot of people like just that paradigm of that now, like that, and they play on that real well about where the money is and how it's shifting. And this follows up. I thought this is where the team was going because we see more of this involving the Paperboy going forward. But then we don't, because we don't get to see our final episode, what happened to them exactly. It doesn't really land particularly well. We don't know what happened to them since episode 8, right? And they just have that end point with Paperboy and Earn from episode 8, as it is. But we don't really see that like play off in a good, hard, like conclusive kind of finale. So whatever. But yeah, this episode is still fun and cool. But yeah, so go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so up next we have the Big Payback, right? That's episode 4. This one is one of the few episodes that felt very Jordan Peele Twilight Zone. It's a good thing I bring up Jordan Peele, right? I'll mention why in the end, right? So we center on this white man who finds out that all these black repatriation thing stuff from
Right.
years and years and years is real now. So just a majority of African Americans pretty much claiming what they own. And this one particular woman by the name of Shaniqua say, you owe us all this stuff, so I'm gonna take your car, I'm gonna take your house and all that kind of stuff, right? And they just see this man's life pretty much just dissolves, man.
Right.
His wife his wife leaves with the kids and whatnot. He goes in this motel, I believe it is, a hotel, sorry, I believe it was, and that's where he meets the white Earn, right? And
Right.
there's this really, well, slight spoiler, this really like kind of shocking moment,
Right.
where after he has this really brilliant talk about basically in a way he's kind of saying that we as white people, we kind of look for it, like eventually this is gonna happen, right? And it just kind of ends with him going by the pool after taking a cigarette and basically shooting himself in the head, right? And we just end up seeing, well, at the very end, the same guy ends up working at this restaurant, right? And if you notice the song that they play at the very end, well, great shot basically, where they're seeing all these African Americans who I mean, it's kind of obvious would not have been able to afford to even eat in a place like this, just filling up the place basically, right? The song that they play at the end of that is the one that they play at the end of Jordan Peele's Us.
Right.
Coincidence? Right. I think not. I think that is purely intentional. I think it was purely intentional. So not one of my favorite episodes per se though, but like it does have a rather particular Twilight Zone vibe about like that one day when it happens, you'll be ready for it. And just how they play it off though was hilarious. It was darkly funny. I'll say that much. Lastly, one scene involving I think it's one of Shaniqua's relatives running after the guy when he was driving in his car was flat out hilarious. And I have a feeling that is Jordan Peele inspired too. Get out, anyone? That is some get out shit. But I'll stop here. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Big Payback?
Yeah. This one was one a little too dour. Like I get what they're trying to go for. But the the conceit of it was just a little too. Again, it's supposed to be Twilight Zone, so a lot of people. This is probably one of the least popular episodes. In amongst people, because yeah, it really just come across more mean spirited than anything. As it is, but I enjoyed it for what it was, mostly because of when he started talking to the guy. I was like, wait, I know the same fella with the boat, and then I was like, oh shit, is Earn, and then when I connected to the thing, I was like, oh okay, that's who he is to Earn. All right, that's what like that. At least that's my interpretation of the situation.
I think he brought up slave masters too, so I could see why you right.
He went it's the same thing. It's his connection. That's how I understand it at least. But yeah, probably pound for pound one of the weaker episodes of the season. Not that it's bad or anything like that, but I get it. It just played itself like just this kind of borderline horror, almost Kafkaesque kind of thing with him thinking he won't get catch and he get pulled up on it. But it's all right. It was fine for what it was. But yeah, good.
Right. So up next we have Cancer Attack. Right. This is where we're in Budapest now, and it really centers on Paperboy, Un, and Darius. So more Un and more Un and Paperboy more than Darius in my opinion, right? And this one introduces us to the character of Socks. He's the guy who was like real coming up to Darius like, yo, this Asian girl, what she's doing, man, she's racist, man. And he kind of tags along as a roadie basically, right? So what happens is that Paperboy's phone gets stolen, right? And they have a feeling that this one kid who has cancer, I think he's related to the janitor, may have had it, and they have like this interrogation session, which is so funny. I like how they play the whole good cop, bad cop kind of thing, though. Right. But it's how the kid himself kind of plays the whole. Okay, I know more than you, but I'm gonna play like I'm kind of dumb and I don't know what's going on, but I know more than you. That kind of vibe now, and it works, right? But it's when they reveal at the end that it was actually Socks who stole the phone and he throws it away in the garbage. That kind of didn't make sense to me at all.
No, right. So they hint at Socks as okay. So Socks is a person he's a kind of person that is somebody who I myself know people like this, which is is usually a white guy who just really passive aggressive and just will secretly plot against it in their own way. And that's how I interpret him. Because you notice he get knocked, they knock him, they insult him in certain ways, and like he have like this subtle, really, really like brutal form of revenge. Like it have a lot of white guys like that. And is remember old Dave Chappelle bit, like if it have a white guy liming around a bunch of black guys, he's probably a real like sneaky motherfucker in your own way. Like it's not that, but you gotta watch him the most. And he'll be the passive aggressive exact forms of revenge in certain ways. Because you have a lot of money, yeah, but he acted more gangster and he acted more vexed than anybody. And it's a lot of weird like insecurity and thing and I know a couple of people like this already. I think I don't know a couple of people. I don't have about 4 or 5 white guys in Trinidad who on my list like that already. Yeah? So you gotta watch them, right? It's like that. I know people like that. So that's why I read that person of just really he just mad at Paperboy for something and he just can't get back at them or say something outright, so you'll do some sneaky bullshit like this. That's how I interpret the character. That's how I feel it. The guy who was his fan, a lot of people are speculating that character is a ghost, right? And he's not real. But I didn't think so. I'm like, all right, well, they're talking to him and it's that whole thing. But we get later who the ghost is. We see a ghost and that comes back later. I really thought they would have confronted him or he would have been addressed later, but yeah, we don't get that. So yeah, good. Anyway.
Yeah, and just this is always a thing with this show, right? Especially with the season where they will hint at things, but they kind of leave things open to interpretation. But sometimes they do a little too much of it, if you ask me. So it's like, all right, so everything has to be left to the open. Like you could kind of explain certain shit, like please, like understand this is absurdism and whatnot, but you could kind of explain things. I don't know, just see it. But anyway, up next we have White Fashion. This isn't one of my top favorites, but this is one that I certainly enjoy, especially because of the message of it. That's what really stuck to me, and it's just really the idea of these sort of like racially fueled clothing fashions and trends and whatnot, right? But just so misguided. Let's people take it, oh, we're woke, so let's have a sweatshirt with Central Park 5 because that's what's down. But it's like, oh gosh, man, like really Central Park 5, this is what you want to have on your clothes. This is what you wanted. It's that. That's what you're going for, right? But I love how Paperboy gets roped into this, because he ends up getting roped into this committee, and they're all talking about what we should do to help in the Black Lives Matter struggles and whatnot, right? And it's to the point where the man come and say, yo, this is what we should do. We're going to have this thing called reinvest in your hood. And oh well, okay, well why well he made the decision to go on his IG live and promote it, talk about it from his page there. And the fuckers take everything he say and fashion this whole commercial / campaign.
Yeah, right.
And you just see different people of different ethnicities that have some of which have no relations to the hood at all, and they like reinvest in the hood. And it is one of the funniest things I have seen in this season thus far, boy. I was in stitches when I saw that, boy. Especially when they had the sort of like Middle Eastern couple. When I saw that, I nearly did. I was like, all right. But how they take the idea and just run with it though. I love it. I love that there's this one social media influencer, this gay guy, right? And he was like, yo, I was trying to tell you that's the kind of shit they do. You see, that's why I do shit on my own hustle. I was like, wow. But in between that now you have this pretty this pretty intriguing and sort of heartbreaking in the end moment involving we boy Darius, right? And him discovering this this Nigerian food joint and in London, by the way. And then meeting this woman who, was showed an interest in it, and then afterwards she makes her own little food stall selling the same shit, but she ended up like buying out that same place.
Well, I don't think she bought it. What happened, boy? She undermined the rent or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I forget what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So she ended up like just setting up right outside where the restaurant was, because now they closed, right? But there's that moment though where she gives him some free food and he eats it and he doesn't like it. He throws it away, and then this one woman, like I think she's jogging right past and say, "You should recycle that," referring to the container. I was like, wow, boy, that was sad. That was real sad. But other than that, though, I enjoyed this. But I love the message more than anything else. But didn't love it, but just that message, though, really stuck out to me, man. So what are your thoughts on White Fashion?
Yeah, this one is probably my least favorite episode. But it just works as, again, the message and the story. And then going with where Paperboy, I thought where Paperboy was going. I thought it was leading up to something with Paperboy going forward from this. But yeah, just brutal. I forget the gay guy character, the black fella, who was just cynical as fuck, but he was good.
He was like, but that's what I love him for.
Yeah, he was the locus of the episode though. It's like, wait, but the man just real playing the game, but he real dread this. But it was good. Yeah, so I enjoyed this episode for what it is. It's just the moment with Darius just had me. It kind of pissed me off actually, but yeah, it was still good. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Right, so Trinity Bone is the next episode. This was the one that, I was excited to see, man. But here's the thing about it, right? So after seeing the episode, I was a little let down at first, right? Because I was like, all right, this is how they end the story. Okay, they didn't really say anything. And then I started thinking about that last shot, right?
The picture, yeah.
The picture, and that's when it clicked to me. Yeah, that's what they're going for, right?
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, we actually not in Atlanta, we actually in New York. Well, sorry, we actually in New York, right? Yes, right. In New York, right? And it centers on this white couple who has a young son, right? They're white, right? And they find out that this caregiver of theirs passed away, right? That she is from Trinidad, right? So they all go to, her funeral, basically, right? And New York, has a large Trini, community there, right?
Yeah.
So this is basically the parents' first time into seeing, Trini culture in a sense, but more in terms of music, right? Because yes, they do play the David Rudder song Trinity Bone, hence where the title came from.
Yeah, there's no, I must say, Trinidad reach when we have a soca, but they're doing this samba slow version of it.
Oh, yes.
At the end there. Yeah, like with the ass, man.
Yeah. I know. We reach, right?
You do that with soca now, Yeah.
Now, I was trying to look at it from the lens of, okay, I'm not from Trinidad. How should I view this, right? So the moment where there's this huge meltdown and this fight that takes place in the funeral, I was wondering, okay, is this the show trying to be absurdist? But I don't think so, right? It's just something that happens.
I felt that was a little interstitial. That was kind of interchangeable with, say, any like black funeral thing. Like it could have been somebody from New Orleans or something like that. Because the way they frame it as it framed like a New Orleans funeral, I think. Like it didn't feel like a Trini funeral, but like whatever that means, I don't know what that means. Because there wasn't ever. What is ever like what religion is Sylvia again? I forget.
Oh, Sylvia, right. That's the name of the caregiver. They never really say it. It was just a funeral, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I couldn't follow that. So I felt that's the only thing that felt a little off.
Yeah, but really, like I say, what made it work for me? Because I just kind of watched. I was like, oh, okay, that's it. By the way, points for seeing someone that I know through Facebook that I met her a few times. Miss Karomi Lords. She was one of the extras in this episode here. So I was like, I see you.
No, but the who played the younger daughter? She's a local. I know her face. Khadijah something. I want to say Khadijah. Khadijah Spears, yeah. No,
Khadijah Spears. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I remember her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But basically there's this moment, right? Well, it shows up, right, where somebody keeps banging on the door, and they drop this envelope,
picture,
right? And it's when the father opens it up, and you see this portrait photo of the caregiver and the son. I was like, all right, well, that's it, okay. But then it just clicked on me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is actually the boy's mother.
And
that just goes deep, So in other words, it's a parallel to slavery in a sense, right? So the father met the Trinity woman, had the child, and it's like, well, I need a reason to stay. So sorry, I need a reason to stay with him, right? So it's like, all right, I'll just be the kid.
Well, they're not. I mean, it's not the biological mother. That is not what they're trying to say. I don't think it's that.
Oh, okay. I kind of read it like that.
No. It's as in I see mother as in she's the one who raised him. She know the boy. She know the boy better than she own mother.
Right. Not her own mother. Yes.
Yeah.
His own mother. Sorry. Okay.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
right. Again, but this particular episode, I love how it's open to interpretation.
Which is still.
I really read it as the kid's actual mother.
Not his biological mother.
Like that. Okay.
Because she's too old for that anyway. But it's about a famous book. It plays on white female slavery, on white women. It about a great book called "They Were Owned by Her" or something like that. And it plays with that. It's just women that's kind of pawning off, the children to black women, like that.
Okay. I understand now.
And a lot of white children. A lot of white children just know, like when they first started life or whatever, the little first piece of their life, all they know is this black woman running their life now effectively, because she knows so much more about the girl, and the son only quoting, statements from her now.
And even singing lyrics from Trinity Bone, but okay, so clearly I misinterpreted the ending, but whatever.
Yeah. And then they play one of the big cameos of the episode. This was just a meta gag, because that was so funny having him do it. Chet Hankstrom, like what the
ass. Yes. I love how he talk about but because he from Trinidad, I was like, you don't look like you're from Trinidad. What does he say? I can't remember.
Oh, all right. So they ask him if he was from Trinidad, or because he's speaking in an accent, but his accent totally off.
Yes.
Not at all. Everybody else's accent fine. He accent off because they're making fun of him doing a lot of black accent stuff.
Of course, because it's Chet Hanks, right there.
But he was raised. Khadijah was his babysitter as well. So that the whole Trinity.
No. Sylvia doesn't.
Sorry. Sylvia was his was his babysitter as well, and that's why he come to the funeral.
Right.
So that that is where they get into the whole Trinity Bone thing.
Yes.
And you get into this all this conceits about white people losing culture, and how when it comes to raising children in particular, how really is something that only people of color kind of kept in terms of that conceit called culture, and just little simple things like food and spices, and it have this whole milieu and conceit. And again, much smarter sociology people could explain this better than me. But I get what the message of the episode was, and this
episode was me too. This was actually one of my favorites as well too, by the way. But just want to mention quickly, did not expect to hear the somber, dark, over-dramatic version of Trinity Bone. I didn't see that one coming a mile away, but that was pretty interesting. That's all I'll say.
That reach if we have that going on for a soca song, well, we good. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we good. But go on.
The name of the book I want to remember is "They Were Her Property." That's the name of the book.
Okay.
So it's there's a lot of that. Like that's where the conceit was. It was more to do with white women and that system of race and that aspect of race that people don't talk about as much. But so that's about it.
Right. Up next, we have New Jazz. This was an episode I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did because of how free flowing and weird it was because it's just
right.
basically
That,
Paperboy on this drug trip basically.
yeah,
But it worked, right? But
yeah,
this is one admittedly that I have to watch over because I pretty much watch all these episodes once. But this is one
right,
particular I really do need to rewatch because I know there's a lot of things that happen. As with episodes, and you actually saw this before in Sopranos, where the lead character goes on some kind of drug trip and comes back learning a lot about themselves, right? So
right.
that's what it is, right? So, but in a nutshell, Paperboy and Darius ends up going into this one store. They're in Amsterdam, by the way. It's this one particular drug. I forgot the name of it, right?
Right.
Darius being Darius knows how to control himself, but
Right.
Paperboy is like, nah, he's off, right? And he ends up in this red light district. He meets this particular woman named Lorraine,
Right.
who just kind of takes him into like different spots. Well, she actually takes
Right.
him into this one club, right?
Right.
And it feels kind of contradictory because like he's there, but she and you think it, oh, she brought him here to perform now. But then as they're about to announce him now, she takes him out like, yo, we need to go and all that kind of stuff
Right.
now. And she just keeps talking to him like, you're not understanding about yourself and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You need to learn, right? There's a great moment where he runs into friggin' Liam Neeson. And I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Right.
This shit what he talks about.
Okay.
Like
For
I know it touches on something incident that happened to him years ago.
life. Yeah.
Racially charged, as all I'll say.
Yeah.
It's just kind of him making fun of it, but I didn't expect him to be in this episode and for him to bring it up. But it works in terms of, oh shit, I'm high and I'm now seeing Liam Neeson. That's the point,
Right. Yeah, this episode was great. One of my favorites as well. So it's a nice follow-up for some stuff from season 1, I think, or season 2. Season 2 had an episode called Woods.
Yes, I noticed that because there was
right.
these kids that were, hey yo, it's Paperboy, come, let me get a fucking autograph. And you remember how freaked out he was in that episode of Woods where these kids were, these two guys come, these young kids literally chased him man into the woods, and it scared him, So him ducking into, well, not into the club, but he ducks into this weird art gallery.
Art place, yeah.
Right, as a result of that.
Yeah, there was a theater place and another art gallery. Yeah. So this was like, again, because of the nature of the trip. I knew where it was going when he started wearing the goofy hat. I was like, okay, I know what's happening here.
Okay, I didn't get the goofy.
So at that point, and then when he reached that point and Darius tell him, ignore that person. Let's keep moving on. I like that a little too specific. So I know where it was going. So it's like, all right, they do a little mental, not in real, but mentally time loopy kind of something because of the nature of the drug.
Yeah.
All of it was
but I really do need to rewatch this because I was a little iffy on the Lorraine character.
Right.
I love how they reveal who Lorraine really is at the very, 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 very end. But like what she was telling him specifically, like I felt like she was trying to say something, but like, all right.
So they play with a lot of like. Right. They play with a lot of like, I get what they're trying to go for, and there's one person in our popular culture who probably could learn from this. Dave Chappelle, right? Remember in season, I think it was 1, where he got into some trouble, and what it is he should be being concerned about, and what you're concerned about in terms of what could destroy your insecurities. What was the name of the club where he went into? Cancel Club.
Right. Yes.
Right. So the subtext is cancel culture, and him being concerned with that. The Lorraine character is, well, the person looks like very, in my opinion, I think the person was transgender. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's how I read the scene. Like the person.
I wasn't sure, but I know she had to be in the LGBTQ community.
Right.
Like,
so because the person either wasn't drag or trans, but I got the sense that the person was non-binary or something along those lines.
Sure.
That's what it felt like. Because it was just attacking Paperboy on his insecurities, masculinity, about rappers in particular, and that whole conceit about it. And then they made a bunch of jokes about that. The working conceit maybe is that Paperboy had sex with a trans woman. That is a whole bag of worms about black masculinity and having sex with trans women and that whole thing. And that was the subtext with that. But then because when they started wearing the goofy hat, I'm like, all right, I know where this is going. And then they come back full circle with it and they make it work as it is. And then him being named Lorraine and the mother's name in context with his comfort baby, that is the person he meet in comfort. We're not sure if Lorraine was a real person, because that could be remember some people throughout the season was looking for a ghost now, quote unquote. So Lorraine might be the ghost. Not sure. Right? Don't know what's going on there. But they play it out with the whole goofy thing, and they make that work for what it was. I thought it was great. I thought that reveal was cool, and yeah, this was one of the better episodes, to be honest. I really enjoyed it for what it is.
Right. So, Ricardo, you will tell me when I'm finished here talking quickly about this episode, why this was your favorite, right? Rich Wigger, Paul Wigger, right?
Right.
This is another standalone episode, right? And this involves this white kid named Aaron, right, who has a black father, right?
Right.
And basically, he's off. Well, he's about to get the scholarship, right? But then this one former student who's become this rich, this billionaire, basically, right? A black billionaire, right? Comes in on the graduation day and pretty much says, yeah, well, sorry, not graduation. Well, this one meeting, right, with the students, and basically say, yeah, all black students getting scholarships. That's it, right?
Right.
So there's this thing involving now him, that one millionaire guy, and two other older guys, right? And they have this sort of like black secret society, basically.
Right.
So it's like basically they just testing your blackness, right? So there's a great moment where Aaron gets called in now and he just asks him all these random questions, right? But it involves black culture, black pop culture, and stuff like that, right? It's just some of the dumbest, most generic stuff as well, but that's how it plays out. Is brilliant, right? And it's to the point where it just Aaron just can't take it anymore, right? And it's set up pretty early that he's very much into first person shooters. So he discovered this idea, fuck it, I just go to torch the place down. So he builds this
Right.
yeah, he builds this what you call it, a flamethrower, right? And then he runs into this black kid who wants to do the same thing, right?
Right.
And there's this nice little duel between the two because it's how it's set up earlier with the video game. It makes sense, right? That he going up against another person, right? The payoff for this is absolutely worth it in my opinion, though. But where I felt the episode sort of stumble is in the end, right? Where we saw the aftermath. He's working at this shoe store now. I mean, it's on. You get the point, right? He's kind of learned to embrace his blackness even more now. Like the idea is that maybe he was kind of like he didn't really think about it that much, right? And it's kind of implied that he repressed it, right? Because he had a white girlfriend who's around white friends, right? But now that he work at his shoe store, he's clearly on probation. It's like, well, yeah, I black now, and I could talk, ebonics to this one, hot chick, right? But then his ex kind of shows up. Well, yeah, because she breaks up with him because like, yo, you're not going to the same college as me, so sorry, right? And they just have like this one little talk, and it just kind of ends where he's saying, I still kind of have the hot sphere, right? And I get the idea, right? Like he's black, but he's still into white women. I get the point, right? But I don't know. I just felt like it just needed just an extra oomph, you know what I mean? But the song, the sort of 80s pop funk song that plays in the end was worth it though. Like I know it's supposed to add to the humor of the overall scenario, right? But I just felt like it just needed a little oomph from it to just drive the point of the story home, right? And it was done in black and white actually, like shot very well though. It was directed by Donald Glover of all people too, right? So yeah, didn't love it as much as well too, but like in terms of like this sort of Twilight Zone-esque kind of vibe, again going to Jordan Peele, Twilight Zone revivalism. This would. I just wish the ending just had a little more punch to it, right? But yeah, Ricardo, why was this your favorite episode?
Yeah, it's one of the funniest black comedies in a while. It was funny. It was hilarious. It make it work for what it was. Another thing is that remember we have a bunch of great guest stars for this season. Who they got? Probably one of the big controversial guest stars by far, Kevin Samuels.
Yes, I was like, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
And the thing is, what's shocking is he just died. Like if Kevin Samuels didn't die and it wasn't him, it would be probably not that big. But the context of him in this really like ramp this up a little bit, and they make it work for what it is. So here's the thing: I didn't really know who Kevin Samuel was until he was trending on Twitter and he died, right? So I decided to look him up, and I was like, okay, I know this dude because he just show up in my family, WhatsApp group ever so often now. Like, my family into that, they're real conservative and they like that bullshit now.
Oh, okay. So people are sending me videos. Oh, yes. Right. I get it.
It's like, that's the only reason I know who he is, right? I'm like, oh, okay, is this guy? Like, I didn't know. I like, oh, who's Kevin Samuels? I was like, I know the name sounded familiar. And then I was like, when I see him, I was like, oh, it's that dude. And that was just funny to me, as it is. And then I was like, all right, he actually showed up in the episode. So this whole season I've been doing a bunch of double takes now. I was like, wait, I not blah blah blah. He does get a bunch of guest stars every episode. But Kevin Samuels in the context of the episode make it work. Because what was really funny is when they reveal who the other person who pissed off was. I was like, yeah, it's a dude from Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah, like, yeah, that makes sense. It's a dude from Nigeria. That makes perfect sense because it's like, yeah, that gets into the whole conceit about blackness now, and it's just really this American conceit, larger ADOS pathology, and it framed in the conceit of how with Donald Glover in particular now as an American, like that is a whole different kettle of fish. Thinking about blackness, and it's not the same. It's not the same. Like other black people around the world can't make the same conceit in the same way. Like some people can maybe, but most people can't. Like, let's just be clear about that. And yeah, I really, really, really found this like absolutely clever and hilarious. How it another thing too is that it was similar to everything was shot in black and white, similar to a little movie from I think last year. This is a movie called Passing.
Yes.
Right?
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, and it's all about passing. And yeah, it is a episode that I thought was a lot smarter and a lot deeper than people give it credit for. Especially with Aaron's character having to just go through this nonsense now. And the father just kind of calling him out on the bullshit. Like, let's be clear about that. The father doesn't want to pay for him, and he was probably not going to make it one way or the other. So the second things get easy for him, or get a little out, he jump on it, and it burned him now. I really, really loved it for what it was. And then he does the girl now. The implication is that the girl was into him simply because he was black originally. So because remember she leave him for a black fella on the fella
she saw on IG who's going to the same school as he was. Right. Sorry, who's going to the same school as she was. Sorry.
Right. So it's like, yeah, that is where the whole conceit of it play out. I just thought this was one of the funny black comedy. I didn't think it would be as dark and disturbing as it was, but at the same time hilarious. Just like a kind of horror comedy at the same time. That was like, it's really well done. In that episode, I just the ending with him winking at the camera just had me cracking up, Judd. Like that, it's such a great dark comedy moment now.
I know, yeah. But maybe it's what I just need to rewatch though. I think that's why I didn't click with me as much as all that. But I do understand why it's your favorite. And as far as for me, my favorite is Street Slaps. I think that was just a strong way to open the season off, right? So now let's get to the last episode, right? Terrar, right? If I got it wrong, forgive me, right? This is the one that centers on Vanessa. She happens to run into three of her friends, Candice, who's played by the fine as hell Adrienne Ray, Shanice, and Zosha, right? Oh, by the way, that's a real maiden names. I thought that was really.
I think one of them really. Who's married to Lakeith?
Let me see. Zosha.
Zosha, okay, yeah, all right.
Right, so the slimmer dark girl, right? That is actually Lakeith's wife. So look at that, right? So look at that, yeah. No, well, actually, no. They're just partners basically, and now I realize that they are separated. Oh my god.
Okay.
Sorry, but they have a kid together, right? Shit.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so this is pretty much Vanessa's misadventures in Paris, and while she is basically going from place to place, meeting person to person, there's this nice bit involving her having this baguette, and that leads into the whole Tarantino moment where she talks about what happens if you leave a baguette out for 2 weeks, it becomes like rock solid, and she like beats a man, like almost beats a guy to death, right? That was hilarious.
For real, that French bread. No, but for real, them French brothers get hard as hell if you lead out.
Oh, shit, I didn't even know that.
But that shit just get hard as hell. Do not leave that out. You gotta eat it one time. You can't warm it up. Like, if you try to warm it, you gotta like put it in thing for a little bit to the microwave to warm it up and wet it. But it stays soggy and terrible. But whatever. Yes, that shit just get hard.
No, the interesting thing with, a majority of this episode, right, is how Vanessa adopts this French accent, right? Not a perfect, of course, but just well enough, convincing enough, right? There's a great moment involving her meeting the Northman by.
Yeah, right. And another cameo joint that I've been like watching, like, wait, I don't Northman there, right?
I know, I want to say, like, oh shit, you in this too? and points for him trying to dance to Ashanti's Rock You Baby. There's a moment, like, if you listen closely, where he's listening to Wayne Wonder's No Holding Back. If you remember from the Diwali rhythm, still one of the greatest dancehall rhythms ever made. That's where he was where they were leaving his hotel room. You will hear it faintly, but like, nah, he killed it, boy. Because he's played against character there. He's sort of this sexually liberated love interest of Vanessa all of a sudden. I love it, right? But yeah, while all this is going on, it just keeps getting darker and weirder, right? To the point that they actually go to this one this not a buffet, this one dinner involving a bunch of rich people. And yes, Mr. Skarsgård shows up is in it as well too. Was the moment when they reveal what the recipe is and you see his human hands and you're like, what the fuck?
What cracked up is we have a sign called "Wash Your Hands" in the back.
Yes, I remember that. But what made that moment real good is the little montage, boy, because you're seeing the host actually talking about this is the procedure you have to do. You have to take the napkin or take a cloth, sorry, and put it over your head and your eyes, and you just pretty much eating it blind now, you know what I mean? I just cut it back to the chefs pretty much preparing these hands, but I just love how they pull it up. They just play it so straight, but it's supposed to be real dark and awkward, right? And of course, Candace is freaking out. It's like, what the hell is going on? And that is where Vanessa has this meltdown. But it's hard to watch though, but it was coming, right? And then she kind of explains what happens. I mean, I know it's mental health, right? But you could kind of I guess if you really think about it, you might kind of come out of it like, you're really that messed up in the head that you decide, oh, I just want to go to Europe because I can't deal with my life. I don't know, right? But that's the story.
Right. So yeah, they talk about. I swear they mentioned this in season 1, where they talk about how they should go to Paris when they get a chance, and she said now she have a child. Like I swear that was a conversation in season 1. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I'm feeling bad now because I only recapped season 2 in preparation for this. Right. I didn't get to recap season 1, but I will, right? But yeah, and that's pretty much where this story ends. Though I love how before we get to the post credit scene, right? Where again the provocativeness, right? Is all about I want to have that water cooler moment where Shanice now ends up taking Candace's role because Candace was pretty much. Pretty much she was just there to, pee on a guy, that's all we say, because it's some fetish shit now. But Shanice pretty much does it, right? But is he shut up for doing it?
The R. Kelly episode, John.
Yeah, it's that, right? But is the context of it all, because you could think of it from you could think of it in terms of race, you could think of it in terms of the sexes, you could think of it in terms of slavery and all that kind of stuff. Just the idea of, oh, this white man wants this black girl to just do this, right? I just love how they portrayed visually with and particularly picking the darkest skinned girl to do it, right? Just if you think about it, right? And just her superimposed on the window, her face superimposed on the window, and you're seeing the Eiffel Tower. I thought that was just brilliant, right? But the mere fact that it lingers on that shot, though, like I know this is Donald, just like, all right, I really want people to talk about this, though. I really want people to talk about this. And even better, ending it with friggin' splash waterfalls from Ludacris.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
I mean, come on, bro.
I cracked me up and I hear that.
When I hear that song, I was like, oh shit. Donald, you're serious? You're serious with us right now? But yeah, we get a post-credit scene because I did like, but what the fuck? Where's Oon and all this, right?
Yeah.
And he gets a duffel bag, and like I was under the impression that he was about to leave to go back home, right? But they don't see that. He was just about to leave, right? And he's looking. He sees a few things. He sees this one portrait photo. He sees his Deftones shirt, and he's like, well, fuck it, I'll take it, right? But even then, when the guy brought it, it's like, well, this is not my bag. But it's like, yo, your name is Ernest Marx? Like, yeah. Right. All right, well, take care, right? And then they did in a sort of a Lynchian style, it just kind of lingers on. Well, actually, more Stanley Kubrick, because they're going for the Shining, the end of Shining. That's what they're going for, where it lingers on the picture.
That Shining thing. You remember the scene in the bar with Paperboy's trip? That person with a dog person.
Yes. That is Shining inspired. You're correct there.
Right, yeah.
Right. And then when we realized that was a portrait photo of this white family, and they zero in on the face, and it's actually the white Ernest, right? And it stops right there. So that's why I was saying I feel the main theme of this whole thing is identity. I mean, look at Vanessa pretending to be French, right? But it was the point that she actually believed that she was French, right? I do believe that the white Ernest is sort of a doppelganger. I don't mean it like a literal doppelganger, but it's like, all right, there's somebody else out there who has my name. So it's just convenient that, the other person who has Ernest's name is a white man. That's the coincidence, right? But you say it may have to do with, slave masters and stuff like that. It could be, knowing this show and what the teams are, right? But at the end...
Remember the same episode had the whole thing of you own my family, you owe me money.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So that's why that was the connection I made. I was like, oh, it's the same name. Oh shit, right.
Yeah. Overall though, like just in terms of this episode and just to close things off, right? I was slightly underwhelmed with this finale though, because we didn't see Darius, because we didn't see Paperboy or much of Un, right? But I do give credit where credit is due. Just zeroing in on Vanessa and her mental dilemma totally worked. It made for some unexpected moments, some dark moments, and then just that meltdown, boy, which was hard to watch. But just the conversation that she had afterwards with her friend was just great in my opinion, right? And just how that provocative shot again, just sort of blurring the lines into and again with identity, right? The whole idea, it's Paris is a city of love, but here's this one white guy who just hired this American girl to do something really perverse, right? But whatever, that's how I'm seeing it, right? So in closing, this has a lot of layers to it as well too. I don't want to say too much layers, but this is one where after you watch an episode, you can't just be like, all right, I'll watch it and that's it. You kind of have to sit down and think about it. But that was like with me and Trinity Bone. Like I had to stop, think about it. Like, oh, that's what they're going for. And even then, I came up with my assumption, but it's probably not the right one. But it's one of those things you have to kind of dive in again, like watch it again, listen to other people's opinions on it, right? I know this might get other people's nerves. Like, oh gosh, like why you want me to overthink this thing? Like, oh gosh, just tell me the story. It's like that, right?
I like how so the title of each episode is very funny and kind of jokey, where it's like a comment. It's like a comment, like what an internet comment going to be about the episode, but it's like a negative comment. So like the episode,
almost like the title of a YouTube video, like winter fashion, Atlanta season 3, blah 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 blah, right? Something like that.
No, but they had like commentary stuff within the title. This is the actual title itself. So like with this boy, like Rich Rigger Paul Wigger's title is like with this boy, the commentary was like
Story of OG. It's a reference to that.
No, but it was like with this boy Black and White. What is this Oscar bait or something like that? Where they try to get a winner award bait.
Okay.
This
Emmy bait. That's the official description to the episode. It's like, Emmy bait, right? Yeah.
All the descriptions and titles have this real funny, like commentary on it. Like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah, kind of self-awareness of it, right?
A little self-deprecated, yeah.
Yeah, but this is again, least favorite, but this is probably the most ambitious season we've gotten so far. I have to give credit to Donald Glover's team for saying here as well. Let's cover some more ground. Let's be more provocative. Let's really dive in and just explore certain teams, right?
Yeah.
Some things flew over my head. I feel bad about it. Others I just noticed from the word go. But that's the beauty of just art. You know what I mean? Like not everything will make sense upon your first listen or view, but when you dive in deep and really explore it, that's when you learn a lot of things. And I know that's where Donald is going. Right? There's a couple more things. I know he going for that Sopranos level where it's like, all right, dog, I want to make like one of the best TV shows of all time, Dre, where people will be talking about for years about how provocative and how forward-thinking it is, right? But I feel like at times it's almost like he's trying a little too hard to be provocative, But I am not the writer of this. I'm not the director of this, so I can't see, right? But I am really curious and excited, a little concerned as to how this final season will play out. But I do hope that it stays in Atlanta, or at least wraps up this whole stuff in Europe and then comes back to Atlanta, because it has to be in Atlanta, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you'll get any more of these side stories in the future. I probably would be surprised if we don't get any of them in this upcoming season. But for what it is, rating-wise, I'm going to give this decent 4 out of 5, man. Decent 4 out of 5 stars. I think that is still worth checking out. Still not as great as the first and second seasons, in my opinion, though. But as far as just stretching the world of what really would have just been a mere urban comedy drama series, man. Yeah, I have to give credit where credit is due, man. So can't wait to see what we get with season 4, man. So
I can't put it as good as 1, and it's also not as good as 2, but still up there for me. Just really well done. I give it an 8 out of 10 myself. Just It's again very ambitious, very experimental. It ties together. As I said, it does a lot of great little jokes and references all throughout. Stitch you in, and I could see myself giving a couple of these episodes a watch over. Like again, the little comedy. Like I just want to read over all the little comedy, little descriptive lines. Like again, the Rich Ruger Paul episode. Black and white. Try to win an award. Why do they hate women? Stuff like that, because it's Kevin Samuels who's the main star in it. Like stuff like that. That's funny. So I enjoy it for what it is. As I say, I wish it had a clearer through line as it is going with terms of characterization and plot, but we didn't get that, and that's what held it back. Other than that, but everything else, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the interstitial approach. I like the mix and match. I was digging the approach to it. Maybe a little pretentious, but it worked for what it was. 8 out of 10.